Hello everyone, welcome back in this episode of Bitcoin Trade. I hope everyone had a great time trading. Anyways, I'll start off on doing a few things. I'm going to do a chart analysis and some news. And I'm going to start off with some news first. I think there's some important news that came out. I'll just go over some quick roundup. Let me see here. Where am I? Okay. Alright, so here's some news here. And I always use CoinDesk to get up-to-date news. And there's a lot of things going on, and I want to just share some things here. And let's start off with, let me see here. Alright, let's just start off with some things here, like this one here. Alright, wow. So, China's bank closes more Bitcoin accounts following PBOK, the PBOK deadline, or the PBOK. I don't know what to call these people, but interesting article. And if you read the phone conversation here, you know, it sounds really scary to read this conversation going on. And you know, when you read this, if anybody ever had a chance to read this, it almost sounds like they're forcefully getting people to well, close their own accounts. You know, it's like, well, either you close your account or we're gonna close it for you. It'd be so much easier if you just closed it. You know, just the way it's the dialogue. It's so weird. It's almost everything that I never been to China, but just everything that I think about China seems to just resonate in this whole conversation. Like, you know, we're in control of you, and you're gonna do what we tell you to do. And if that means if you have to throw yourself under the bus, throw yourself under the bus, or we're gonna throw you under the bus. You know, it's kind of like that. And you know, well, anyways, just read it yourself and take a look at it. It's a really interesting article here, and of course that's all related to the Red Scare. And then some other news here. Former U.S. consumer finance watchdog voices support for Bitcoin. This is amazing, you know. Some people are coming out voicing support. Maybe even, I believe this person may even own some Bitcoins as well. Great article. And then here's another article here. And local Bitcoin names malware as cause of wallet issues. And I read the article. I am a user on local Bitcoins, and I've had no issues whatsoever. It does state here that some of the people who had problems didn't have a two-factor authenticator. Google offered this. Google has a Google Authenticator, which most of these exchanges, your email, if you have Google email or any Google account, I'd highly recommend if you're gonna deal in cryptocurrencies, because your wallets don't exist in this world; they exist in the digital world. So you got to protect your wallet. So having a two-factor authenticator really makes a big difference. Use it for your email, because you know, a lot of people hack into your email account so they can reset the passwords. And the way it's verified is that, well, you have to click on a link through your email. You know, they send you something in the email, and you click on it, and it takes you another link, and you can reset your password. Well, use your authenticator for your email account too. Matter of fact, if anything you do online, if possible, use a two-factor authenticator. if possible. And so that's my recommendation. If you're not familiar with it, um, Google it because there is a Google Authenticator, and I think that's probably the one that most exchanges will use. They have some of their own, and or you'll be using a Google Authenticator. So I could tell you I've had no issues whatsoever. So this article may be for people who didn't have the two-factor authentication. Um, and the report is it's such a small amount, but at the same time, I understand, like people who are getting into this, when they get their money stolen or their Bitcoin stolen, it's kind of perplexing, and you're in a world of amazement. So, but I wanted to share that because I just want to let people that, as far as my experience with this issue, I don't have any. And so maybe this is for people who didn't have the authentication. So always get the one-time password. So use that on top of your username and your password, and also use it for your email accounts, because when I always thought of people who are hacking or doing these kind of things, being very sophisticated, and they have criminal, not criminal mastermind, but they have a very ingenious mind, and to a certain degree it's true. At the same time, they're just guessing. They're just guessing at your password, and most people aren't very creative at coming up with passwords. So that's kind of a user problem more than a hacking issue. 1234 is not a good password. Okay. Matter of fact, if I was a hacker, that would be the first thing I would use. 1234, or your name, or something, or even your username. So it's just one of those things where a lot of people who are on the internet, I know you'll have a lot of passwords with a lot of usernames, but that's, you just have to keep up with that. So let's go on some other articles here real quick. Ron Paul, Bitcoin is not true money. And just something I want to just bring up because it's an article, and it's good to see that. By the way, Ron Paul represents Texas, I believe. So I'm in Texas, so that's why I'm bringing him into this whole video. So it's good to know that at least the state I'm in, which is the great state of Texas, is innovative in new technology. And people may not think of Texas as a financial center, because I didn't until I moved to Texas, and I realized Texas has a lot of money. And the best part is their cost of living is super duper low. In some areas, in some areas it's very, very high, but for overall super duper low, and the state has a lot of money. What does that equate to? That's going to equate to growth, right? Growth in the value of the great state of Texas. So go ahead and read the article. Very good. I'm glad this gentleman here represents Texas. I think he speaks. There's a reason why this guy's in office, is because a lot of people, he speaks to a lot of people. Not that he does speeches to a lot of people. What he says resonates with a lot of people in Texas. That's what I'm trying to say. He does speak to a lot of people too. So, and then what else do I got here? Oh yeah. The fact is that you don't know what's going to happen to you. It's a good idea to maybe tell your spouse or leave a will just in case something happens. Something like like death, and your Bitcoins have they have a two-factor authenticator or one-time password. you need to tell somebody about that. Let them know how to get to your wealth, because they're going to need it to put you 6 foot under. So, and then here's another one. Oh, this. I was just reading it. I don't have anything to say about that, but here's another article that I wanted to kind of show that I'm a little surprised that CoinDesk didn't have it. But again, it has to relate to Texas. It's kind of amazing. Anyways, DFW stands for Dallas Fort Worth, so that pretty much means Dallas. But for the most part, Abbott campaign accepts Bitcoin contributions, and so you're starting to see a lot of people accepting Bitcoin as contribution. And this is a Texas Attorney General Greg Abbott, campaign for governor, says it will accept contributions made with the Bitcoin virtual currency. So this is kind of like I don't know if this is huge or not, but I think it is to a certain degree, because as Bitcoin evolves into mainstream and being used more and more often, and investors come in, like legitimate investors, buying and investing and selling Bitcoins for whatever reason, you're going to see a lot of people, politicians and such, are going to open up to that source of contribution, finance contribution. And so this leads me to my other article here, which I think was missed by CoinDesk. I'm a little surprised, but I caught it. And let's scroll up here. FEC poised to issue advisory opinion on use of Bitcoin in campaign donations. You can read the quick synopsis in this article. I'm sorry. Here, there's the article. I'm going to show this specifically because I want people to. There it is. Okay. There's the author. There's the date. There's the website. Anyways, why? You can read all this and everything, and then they actually have the actual PDF file. This interested me quite a bit, because I looked at the PDF file, I read through the whole thing. I'm not going to get into too much detail, but how is this important? It's important because I can exercise my rights and voting rights and all these other rights that I have as a U.S. citizen here, or even not even a U.S. citizen, just as a person in general. Because one of the things that I mentioned in my previous episodes was the fact that if a corporation is a person, and they can do all this stuff on a global level, as well as contribute to a campaign to infinity, an unlimited amount, because they're considered a person. Well, what if I am a person? Can I not contribute an unlimited amount to a campaign contribution? So this is kind of the reason why I brought this up, and yes and no, to a certain degree. But the most important thing in here, if you read it, is that these super PACs, specifically, let me see, Make Your Laws PAC. This is specific to their scenario here that they're. But you can, as a PAC, I don't know what that stands for. I'm sure I have to look it up. It probably means something, Political Action Committee or something like that. But as a PAC, you can accept campaign contributions in Bitcoin. It's limited, but more importantly, what I think is more important is that a PAC can invest in Bitcoin and use those gains to spend on whatever they want, as long as they convert it back into a legal tender, and then use that legal tender to legally donate, whatever, put up ads, whatever you want. I think that's really important because if anybody out there in Bitcoinia doesn't like a lawmaker or wants to see a lawmaker removed from office or would like to see a lawmaker put into office to implement a more environment Bitcoin friendly you know laws, well, you can do that now. And I think this is a huge step because it will take Bitcoin out of the shadows and into the mainstream and into the daylight. And well, you have a voice now. Bitcoin now has a voice, or the Bitcoin user has a voice to well, change the rules, change the laws. So this is big. Download this PDF, read it, understand it, and well, I guess you could do whatever you want from there. So let me stop here for a minute. I gotta do something real quick, and I'll be right back with the chart analysis. All right, sorry about that. Just had to pause for a moment here, but anyways, let's go to a chart analysis, and really take time to read this because if you really care about the future of your life, of your children's life, of your children's children's life, this is something worth reading as far as how you can do things with your Bitcoin, or what Bitcoin can do for finance contributions. This is huge. This is big, and you're going to see a lot of people, a lot of lawmakers, maybe even the president one day. A president will be funded through Bitcoin. Campaign contributions with Bitcoin. What do you think that's going to do to Bitcoin? It's going to make it huge. It's huge. It's a big deal. You can change the laws. You can change the rules. We can voice through a value vote, I guess, a Bitcoin vote of who you support. I mean, this is amazing. So anyway, let's go on to a chart analysis here. So, excuse me. That way you can see this a little bit better. There you go. Okay, so this is the Bitstamp on a 1 day, and I'm just pulling back so you get an idea of what's going on here. And it's still trying to fight that resistance line, but I've cleaned up the lines a little bit to make it more simpler to look at. But you got the two. I think it's just going to range here for a while until it can successfully break out of this resistance here. And in some ways it has, but it's fallen back down. But it may push because it's kind of weird. Look, it actually touched within these two ranges here, and so this is what you're looking at. It's going to probably range here for a little bit because I just think there's a lot of people who aren't sure, and there's some people who are really enthusiastic. So you're going to see a little bouncing around here, at least until this comes down to a point where it can just easily just break, just break on through. And then now we're probably back into another range between this price level here. Let me move the mouse over. So you'll probably see a different range around this price level, and that would be at the 718. So if it breaks through, it'll probably range in here for a little while. And if you look at that, that's the high of that, and then the low of this area right here, if you want to see the rest. And after that, it's probably gonna perhaps even range from this low point here to this point here if it does go back on an uptrend. And have to wrap this up really quick because my battery's running out. Sorry about that. Here's another one. Same scenario. Bit C is a little different from what I'm getting. The range is smaller. It's clearly broken out of this particular resistance here. Still needs a long ways to go here, but if you look at that, by the time that time passes, kind of weird, you probably realize that it's gonna, well, it's almost there right now, but if it does break through here, it's probably gonna hit here, which happens to be the high here. You know, it's just kind of weird how these things work out in that way. It kind of makes me wonder if this is all really predetermined, or are we really moving the price that way? Are we really moving the price that way, or is this all predetermined? Because you have to wonder. I mean, this is all inside of a server. Go figure. And then this is Bitfin. Bitfin's really different. You know, this Bitfin shows this line right here, this particular line right here. That's actually the real resistance line from this point to that point. But I made some fans here because I think this is a great pivot point here and here. But I'm looking at it, and look how it just coincides with everything with this fan. So it's actually shown that it's broken through, finished, but it's come back down again. So as far as Bitfin is concerned, when I look at Bitfin here, and it's on a daily, 1 day, it may show a sign of breaking out. It's just relaxing, coming back down, and then may push up again. And if you also look at the actual averages, you'll see that it's bouncing off of the averages. It may bounce off of one of these two averages, and it looks like it's almost crossing over too. Very close to right here too. We'll have to see. It could be more of the same, just pushes up real high, floats around, and then goes down. But we'll see. And then this is Coinbase, and here you go. I've done just fans. This is all they have for me to look at. But even if I look at the fans here, from this point to this point, it's broken out. Now there's the resistance to this here, and look how it just reacted, and then came back down. I mean, I can't make this stuff up because, well, I can't. And you should probably have the same chart as I do. You all see it here. You can all draw your own lines. But it's kind of interesting how it works out. That's it for that. So as long as, if it can break through this line, that means it's probably a good chance it's back onto an uptrend here for a while. And it'll probably stop when it reaches about this high, and it'll bounce around. So there's a couple, you know, things you can do. I mean, let me see if I get, oh, here's something else. So if we just look at that, so basically, if it may bounce around in here at some point along this, any of these resistant lines on the downtrend, and you can see in some ways it's reacting right now to it, and it may just come back here and then pow, go up again. Or if it does break beyond here, you're going to see a range going back around here. So 712 is a great, I don't know what you call it, limit stop, or a sell limit, a good sell limit, if you want to take that chance of buying here or here, and then, you know, just wait and see and just let it just rise up and go. Anyway, my battery's dying, so I have to go real quick, and I did want to talk about one quick thing before I leave here. And there's a little ad here, Bitcoin crypto art, and I thought that was very interesting, and I want to kind of share it. If y'all have a chance to click on it. But basically, let's see if they show. Oh, okay. Well, let's take a look at some of the artwork, or see how it works. Anyways, it's interesting. Read it, but transferring value onto an artwork through a QR code with Bitcoin is an interesting concept. For the most part, and so there's the okay. Well, I'll let you all look at it, but there's a private key in the back, and then you have the QR code in the front, and it's basically a paper wallet. Paper wallet. Interesting idea. I like it. I was considering to do something like that, but the only difference that I would do is I wouldn't have a private key at all. I would somehow plant this QR code or the address key somewhere in the artwork and then transfer the value into that artwork. And so basically this artwork is tied to the index of how many Bitcoins, and it's a one-way. It's what I call a dead-end address or a dead-end wallet. Basically the value goes into that wallet but never comes out. It's stuck. It is there forever. And so that becomes a part of the artwork, and you know, the artwork itself becomes valuable, not the QR code or the Bitcoin that contains the QR code or something like that, because they show here a private key that you can, it's basically a wallet for the most part. It's a paper wallet that you can transfer Bitcoin in and out. What I'd like to see is artwork that, well, once you put Bitcoin in it, that's it. It becomes a part of the artwork. It becomes art. And that's what I really want to see. And I think I play around with that idea. I'm into the arts. I think arts represent a lot of the cultural history that you don't see in history books. It can't be explained in words. You just have to look at it and understand what it means and what it represented for that time and era, and cultural representations. So it doesn't have to be a print. You could set this thing in stone. If somehow you could make this QR code and set it in stone, what does that mean? That means this piece of rock has Bitcoin value transferred onto it, and it's a dead-end wallet or a dead-end address key. In other words, it's a one-way and never leaves. You can infinitely put in value into any kind of object that you want. It can be art, it can be a piece of rock, and you can say it's art, whatever. So this is kind of something I want to just bring up real quick. I mean, you could just take a look at it. I like the idea. I think it's going to catch on, especially among digital artists who always had this issue with of, okay, I make digital art, but the problem is once I sell my digital art, it can just be reproduced infinitely and altered on top of that. Well, what if you tied it to a Bitcoin, or you put the value of your artwork and you somehow were able to transfer the value of something onto or into the artwork itself, and it's a one-way. It's a dead-end wallet, a dead-end address. People can actually, if they like the artwork, they can actually put more value into it. Now, whether whoever owns the artwork can do that as well. You know, if they really like this artwork and they say, wow, I like it, I'm gonna transfer value into this artwork because I believe it's worth more than what I bought it for. And you can use this artwork as an investment. It's kind of interesting. That's how crazy Bitcoin can be. That's what I mean. Bitcoin is whatever you want it to be. Literally. It could be your criminal enterprise. It could be your artistic dream. It could be your way out of debt. It could be also your way into financial freedom. So it's all up to you. Anyways, this concludes this episode. Feel free to comment, like, dislike, or even leave a video response. Until next time, stay tuned. Bye now.